Alexa Liacco. Ranked choice voting gives voters the chance to vote for more than one candidate in an election. It's becoming a more and more popular system for local and presidential elections across the country. We found out how changing the way we vote could impact our democracy. Midterm election season is underway across the country, and as voters head to the polls this year, many are asking, is our voting system working for the people?
I think a lot of voters realize that they have limited choices, that sometimes it's a Coke versus Pepsi kind of thing, and they like more choice.
There's a growing movement for a different way to vote that gives people that choice.
Ranked choice voting is a voting system where rather than just voting for one person only, the voter is given the option, if they want, of ranking their preferences.
This may sound confusing, but here's how it works. You rank candidates in order of preference. If a candidate receives more than half of the first choices, that candidate wins, just like in any other election. If there's no majority winner after counting first choices, the race is decided by an instant runoff. The candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated, and voters who picked that candidate as number one will have their votes count for their next choice. This process continues until two candidates remain and the majority candidate wins. And you don't have to rank candidates if you don't want to. You have the choice to vote for just one person. This system is being used more widely across the country. Maine and Alaska used it in the last presidential election, and nearly 24 other states use ranked choice voting in local elections.
So it's used in both red states and blue states.
Stephen Mulroy is an election law professor at the University of Memphis. He studied ranked choice voting for decades and says more people are supporting this system because it's more representative of who voters want to elect.
They don't tend to favor Democrats or Republicans. They tend to favor who has majority of support. So in a Democratic majority district, it'll tend to favor Democrats, and a Republican majority district, it'll tend to favor Republicans.
It also eliminates runoff elections, which usually have low voter turnout and cost counties more money.
You're one and done. You make sure you have a majority winner, but you do it all at once without the trouble and the expense of a separate runoff election.
From what he's seen, it's helped make the campaign season less negative.
It tends to elect consensus candidates with broad-based support. It has not depressed the minority representation. In fact, minority representation has increased where it has been used. Another thing is that ranked choice voting tends to result in more women being elected.
In his hometown, the community voted to enact ranked choice voting 3 separate times. But state and local officials pushed back, and the system has never been implemented. Now in Tennessee, the state legislature is working to ban ranked choice voting altogether.
A lot of times the opposition that you hear comes from incumbents, because ranked choice voting makes elections more competitive. It levels the playing field between incumbents and challengers, and incumbents don't like that.
Memphis teacher Erica Sugarman tried to challenge the incumbent party in her local city council election.
They call me the crusader, because I'm always fighting for teachers, students, and parents.
Voters in her district had approved ranked choice voting, but the system was never put in place. She says if it had been, the election would have gone differently.
If we had ranked choice voting at the time, looking at the figures and looking at our backgrounds and look at the way the voters voted, I would have won.
She's now part of a lawsuit to get ranked choice voting into her district, a move she says will make elections more representative of the community.
So it's not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. It's an issue about the voting system and working for all people. And we all want the same thing. We all want fair elections.
But not everyone supports ranked choice voting. Opponents say it could be confusing to voters. It gives too much power to smaller parties, and switching to a new voting system could be expensive. But both sides hope voters educate themselves no matter their view. I'm Alexa Liacco.
It's a political tool that has been around for a long time. Next on The Race, how the filibuster is having an impact today and the trouble some say it's causing and why it needs to change.